Hello there, Dr. Model Stein reporting in. I hope everyone has had a fantastic week. The air is starting to cool down just a bit, and this weekend we are going to roll our clocks back an hour. Ah yes, fall is upon us. Which is a great thing for us model builders, because shorter and colder days means more time inside at the model bench. What will you be working on soon? Tanks, planes, ships, cars, spaceships, figures perhaps? I was looking at what Danny has started building over on the Facebook group. That car is going to be great. It's also great to see Jason back at the workbench. I look forward to seeing that Wildcat finished up. And do you remember the huge battleship in 1/200 scale that Richard showed us a couple weeks ago? Well, word on the street is that he is now building a Hornet aircraft carrier in 200 scale. He stopped by the shop the other day to load up on all the goodies needed for it. Squadron colors paint, photo etch, the whole 9 yards. I know it's going to be great. Speaking of great, if he makes it here to the show tonight, we are going to hear all about a brand new model show that will have its very first event next month. That's right, I just know that it will turn into a fantastic event, and I look forward to hearing all about the first one. You know, all of those new upcoming items we showed off last week have been put up for pre-order on the website, so make sure to reserve yours tonight after the show. There are so many great kits coming in the next few weeks. I just know there is something that would be a perfect addition to your stash. Well, I guess I will go ahead and say bye for now and go get a jar of pickles and perhaps a nice slice of lemon for my tea.
Hey guys, welcome. It's Wednesday night again, and here we are live at Squadron, and we're looking forward to having a great night. Thank you so much for being with us. This is, as I always say, one of the highlights of my week, being able to come and hang out with you guys. It's just something that we always love. So we've got a guest with us tonight. David Bennett is going to be joining us in just a few minutes to talk about a brand new model show that's never been before. They're having their very first show next month, and they are really hoping that it turns into a yearly event. And I hope the same thing for them. So we're going to hear about that in just a few minutes. But first, let me see who is with us tonight. Joseph, good to see you tonight, buddy. Great Wall Hobby, are they a good model? Yes, in general, they are a good model. If you ever heard of the photo etch company Lion Roar, that many years ago had quite a catalog, if you will, of photo etch for ships and armor. They are the company actually who started Great Wall as they transitioned away from doing photo etch and doing more plastic kits. They used Great Wall Hobby as their brand name for plastic kits. And I guess it kind of just took off for them, and they started focusing on that, and they really kind of quit doing the photo etch. So that is the company. So they've been around a while, and their stuff is really good. I think you'll like it. We have a shipment of that on the way, actually. I saw another question down in the chat that we'll get to in a minute, I'm sure. But they've got their A10s, their C130s, all sorts of cool stuff that's on the way. So give them a shot and see what you think. And Chip, it's good to see you tonight. And I am glad that we were able to help out with that A12 decal dilemma, the Model Collect Fist of War flying nachos or Doritos, as they kind of look like that. Glad I was able to get that for you. Tom, good to see you tonight down in Florida. And it looks like you're planning on coming up here in January. Awesome. It'll be great to see you. That's our show here in town down at the Chattanooga Convention Center. So looking forward to seeing you there. Joseph is looking for a German Gigant. That is a big plane. If anybody's got one and you want to sell it, Joseph will probably buy it. Let's see. Tom's asking about Arma. We've got a shipment of Arma on the way. We were talking about that just a little bit last week. I think Ed was talking about it last week, but we do have all of their new kits on the way. I think that it's supposed to be here this month in October. It's just the beginning of the month, so hopefully that'll happen, but it could fall over into November. They sometimes are a little slow on getting things prepared to ship for us. So, but they are in the works. Wayne, it's good to see you tonight, buddy. And Tom, I didn't mean to ignore the last part of your question there. The B-24 book, in the spirit of trying to not commit to things and tell you guys things we're doing until they're actually done, we are working on the B-24 book, but I don't want to throw any dates on it. I will say that our 2D artist, Gabriel, who is the one that kind of has been redrawing all of our old decals, and drawing new decals that have never existed before. He kind of does the 2D artwork, and then of course that artwork goes over to Peter, who then does his thing, and I have no idea how he does it, but he turns it into those beautiful artworks that he makes in full 3D. Anyway, Gabriel actually is about, I don't know, less than 10 nose arts away from being completely done with his portion of the project. So as soon as he's done, it's on me and Peter to get all that stuff wrapped up and into the book. So it's coming. It's just a very, very, very long project. Let's see. Danny, it's good to see you tonight, and enjoy watching your posts on our Facebook group. I still don't know how you get stuff built so fast, but I'm looking forward to seeing that Carl finished up. And yeah, we've got one Dora left in stock, and I can put your name on it, Danny. And then we will really test how fast you can put a model together, because if you get that thing put together in the same amount of time you get most of your stuff put together, I'm probably just going to give up and quit building models, because yeah. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. ABSN, good to see you this evening. And the Lawn Care Novice is in here with us, and Nick and Derek, Carlos, Bill's with us. Good to see you guys. Mark and Rex, Wayne out in Ohio, good to see you. Arnell's with us tonight, and Biddle Boy, working on another Osprey book review, as always. That sounds good. And Ken is with us tonight, and TD. And Jason, good to see you tonight, buddy. Glad to see you back at the bench. Looking forward to seeing that Wildcat. And Ed, man, Ed came to see us last week on Friday, all the way out from Texas. Came by for a visit. It was great to see you. Glad to. It was funny you mentioned here in the comment that Russ made his first appearance at the warehouse. So Russ still works over in Ellijay, but I guess you can do that these days. Working remotely, everything he does, he doesn't have to be here, but he does come over every once in a while. So Ed picked a good day to be here because Russ was here, so we all got to catch up and show the place to Ed. So it was nice to see you, Ed. Hope to see you again soon sometime. And Jason, talking about the Squadron paint. So yeah, one of the there's a few things about the Squadron Colors paints for you to keep in mind. First of all, very, very low pressure, and then you really can't mix it with other brands. In this case, Jason tried to mix it with AK Interactive's washes. The AK and Vallejo and even Tamiya to some extent, all these other brands, they have their proprietary formulas and the ideas so that you need to buy their thinners and things, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But our formula, our thinners, the things to clean ours and mix with ours, it doesn't really jive with whatever they have in their formulas. Ours is pretty straightforward and easy. Water and IPA, isopropyl alcohol. If it's not made up of water and or isopropyl alcohol, you're really not going to want to mix it with our paints. So just keep that in mind. Kent, good to see you tonight. Let's see. Yeah. Oh yeah, Ed, mom was even there. So you got to meet the whole family just about. And Ed was talking about the carpenter building. So that carpenter you're referring to, he's actually one of our new guys that we've recently hired. We didn't realize he was a carpenter. And then we started talking about adding on to the warehouse, the shelves and building this new 3D production room and whatnot. And we were going to do it ourselves, but it's not like I already have enough things to do or anything. So Matt's like, hey, I know how to do that. It's been great. So that's rocking along. So Ed, you not only did you show up when you got to see everybody, you also showed up. I don't think the place could have been in any worse shape. The mess. We had stuff everywhere, but Ed didn't seem to mind. So Frank, good to see you from the other side of the world, my friend. I hope you're having a good day over in Australia. And I am happy to say you've got some paint headed your way. So you'll finally be able to get that hood going. And I look forward to seeing what you do with it. It's going to be great. Kenneth, good to see you over in Blairsville. And T is here. Good to see you, T. Randy. And hey, look, here's Jeff. And there he is right there.
So then I said, how was I supposed to? Oh, wait a minute. Where I? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, you see how this goes, Jeff.
Yeah.
You realize that whenever you put something in the chat, that's probably when I'm going to poof you into the show.
Yeah. And you always try to catch me off guard. I think it's kind of become a habit of, let's catch him when he's yawning. Let's catch him when he's, cleaning his glasses or,
I do my best.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So how you been?
Just good, busy, but that's a good thing. I always say it's better to be a little too busy than not busy enough, especially in business.
I think there's a happy medium there.
There is a happy medium, but if I had to pick one of those two extremes, I'd rather be too busy.
We've been busy.
Yeah. Well, checks on Friday clear when you're too busy. When you're not busy enough, that might be a problem.
This is
so
true.
I agree with you. I want a happy medium, but between those two extremes, I like the too busy.
I just would like to sleep once in a while.
Oh man,
not feel guilty about taking the wife out to dinner and little stuff like that.
Well, everything is good down in this neck of the woods. It's as we kind of always say, this time of year, specifically the beginning of October, it's always like the calm before the storm. We mentioned that last week, and that's why we're building more shelves. We're going higher. We're going deeper. We're building this production room, which, by the way, fingers crossed, should be done by the end of next week.
Fantastic. We'll get those printers up, get them running, and start getting all of this stuff that everyone has been requesting.
Yep.
Into full-time inventory. And I know Brandon mentioned that you mentioned that last week, that we will do a production batch of something, and we have the through the website and the shopping cart, email me when this comes back in stock.
Yep.
and we'll put 25 of something in stock, and there's 25 of those emails that are out, and they get the email and they order the stuff, and next thing you know, it's gone again.
Yeah.
So
you got to use that. Let me show this. So this is a 1/16 scale trumpeter leopard tank. And we've had it posted on the website for a little while now, but it's been out of stock.
Yep.
And people were doing, this, put your email address in, click notify me, so that when it comes back in stock, it emails it. Well, I keep an eye on this thing. So we've got these coming in, and they'll be here perhaps by the end of the month, but definitely no later than November. And I was going through the list to see how many people were interested in this thing, and I realized that we have exactly enough coming in if everybody that said they wanted one. So instead of letting this thing ride and just blank sending out the emails to everybody, I actually went in there today and I sent a personal email to each and every person on that list saying, hey, if you want one, I have exactly enough. And they are 100% sold out now before they even got here.
And yeah.
So,
I mean, and here's the crazy part is I work here and I didn't even get an opportunity to get one.
I didn't know you wanted one.
Well, I didn't either until just now.
Well, there you go. They're gone. You'll have to wait till next time. But
yeah, I think I got enough stuff to keep me busy.
Well, and somebody earlier this week mentioned something about we're getting into 3D printing, and to some extent that's true, but actually we're not getting into it. A more accurate statement would be we are bringing all of our production in-house.
Correct.
Whether it's 3D print, whether it's resin cast, there's a lot of other things we're working on, and we won't. Well, we won't do it again and say what we're going to do, but we're bringing stuff because we've been 3D printing. It's funny. If you go back in time to 2006 or 7, right after we started, this is back when Yankee Model Works was going strong. And we, of
Chris
course,
Decker and those guys.
Well, we bought Trident Hobbies from Chris Decker. So we immediately from the day one were involved with Chris and Yankee Model Works, and we learned resin casting. They were amongst the first people that were using 3D printers to print Shipmasters.
Right.
So, I mean, it wasn't a couple of years after that I got into it myself, and then we got into it and created Blue Ridge models. So we've been 3D printing for over 15 years. It's just now we're really going to make it a focus of our business. We're going to do it in-house rather than we used print farms in the country. We used print farms around the world, but now we're going to give a run at doing everything ourselves. So,
and it makes sense. You and I have been working together for almost a year now. And one of the things that we knew early on was that my print farm of 11 printers was never going to be able to keep up with the demand. It was marginally keeping up with the demand that I had when I was operating independently. And then when you take that customer base and you multiply it by a factor of 100, the demand goes up, proportionally. So, we've always had this discussion that I can design stuff or I can print the stuff that we have. Both are pretty much full-time jobs. So if you're printing stuff to keep up with demand, you don't have any time to design stuff. And if you're designing stuff, you don't have time to print stuff. So I think this is, it's really going to, it's really going to open things up, and it's certainly going to add to our inventory capabilities with the tracks and retooling all of the 3D ship fittings and I'm not even I know the figure side is but that's not even on my radar.
And we've got other guys that Jeff is always on the forefront of the because he's the design manager, if you will. But we've got some other guys that are working in the background, and we're looking at hiring some other designers. So we got a lot of stuff going on, and these types of things. This is what happens during October when it's the calm before the storm. Give us another 2 or 3 weeks when we start our Black Friday sale at the beginning of November, and it's game on then. So
this sums it up right here.
Yeah.
Steven used to work third shift, and I would get messages from him at like 3 a.m, and he was expecting me to answer like during business hours, but I was still up printing and doing whatever. And so that kind of sums up the whole ball of wax.
Oh yeah. Well, we got a lot of other guys in here. I know I didn't say hey to everybody. Chris is here. Brandon is here. Lee is here. We got Dave out in Arizona. He's here. Jim, John, Kimberly's with us. Good to see you tonight. Just all sorts of guys in here. I appreciate everybody being here, but I do want to move into one of the main focuses of this evening, and that is our guest, Dave. And so Dave is over in Raleigh, North Carolina, and he is putting together a new model contest. It's not affiliated with IPMS or AMPS or anything. It's going to be its own thing. So let me bring him in here, and he can tell you guys a little bit about it. Dave, how
There
are
he
you,
is.
buddy?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you?
Oh, doing really, really good. It's good to have you here, and I appreciate you being with us.
I appreciate you having me on. I thanks for taking the time.
Absolutely. Well, we have started over the last few weeks. We want to give the different model clubs, the whether it's IPMS or whether it's not, help promote their shows. And this is in the grand scheme of the entire modeling community. I realize that our show on Wednesday night is relatively small. But we've got a loyal group of guys here. And then afterwards, a lot of people may come in and watch the replay. And guys, if you're watching the replay, by the way, thank you for watching this. I know everybody can't be with us live on Wednesday nights. But anyway, regardless of how small this footprint may be, we want to do everything we can to help these shows be as successful as they can. And what's very intriguing about what you are doing is, when the IPMS chapters, when they have a show, they have a lot of work to do. But they also have the IPMS organization that posts the show on their website. They put them in their journal. They do the whole thing, which is a big help. AMPS shows, they get kind of the same treatment. And then there are some other standalone shows like a Wonderfest, for example, that have been around for years and years and years, so people know them. But you're going at this basically all by yourself and your club, your Model Works Model Club. I know that you've got a group of guys there, but y'all are doing it standalone. And that's just very interesting to me. I hope it's a massive success. But give us a little background before we talk specifically about KitCon. How did you get into modeling, and what is your background on model building and all of this interest?
Well, I started out, as any kid did, building a lot of different kinds of models. I built a few ship models with very poor results. I always liked building the car models when I was a kid. The show rods like Paddy Wagon, Red Baron, all the usual car kits. I built some tank models as a kid, and I enjoyed them, but they didn't stick with me. And because of my age, I was born in that era of where people my age were known as monster kids. We grew up with the Universal reruns and sort of thing. So I was real into the horror films and of that era. And Famous Monsters sold had ads for the Aurora monster kits in the back. And so, of course, being leaning toward that genre, I started building all the monster kits. And so I built those and got hooked on those. And I stuck with those, through that age of your life until you hit those teen years where you think, I'm too old to build models. I'm going to go do something else now, right? So you quit building models, you run around, do other stuff, and then you come back to it later, which is what I did. A good friend of mine in the early 90s gave me a Screamin' Werewolf kit. It's a vinyl kit from the company Screamin' that is now defunct. It was a great big, 16-inch tall vinyl werewolf kit. And I was just so impressed. I thought, I didn't even know this kind of stuff existed. And I thought, well, this is really cool. So I started diving into looking for these vinyl kits. And then I started going back and trying to hunt down and find the old Aurora kits that I had as a kid. And so I started this search and getting back into building them and wanting to collect them. And I discovered the garage kit hobby. That's one. And so I got into the garage kit stuff, which were, much smaller runs. They weren't big runs like Screamin' were doing. They were resin, one-off resin. And there were small runs, 10, 15 copies or whatever the producer could do. And they were really obscure topics, like some old B movie monster that nobody would ever do a kit of. Some guy would sculpt it and make a kit out of it. And they were based on a lot of the pop culture stuff, movies, comic books, things like that. So I really got into the garage kit hobby, and I've been in it ever since. It's gotten a little out of control, actually. I have, I have, I have a stash that's getting too big.
Yeah, that doesn't matter what genre you were in. I mean, that's universal with a model builder.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen other people's collections, and I go, "Oh, I don't feel so bad now."
There's always a bigger stash.
That's right. That's
Yep.
right.
Yep.
So, I collected for years and years, and then, like anyone, you start thinking, "I wish somebody would do this kit of this topic, or I wish somebody would do one of these," and they never do. So I finally produced some kits of my own, and I've done a few, and I've enjoyed doing them. Had some reasonable success with them, and I'm not a big producer. I don't crank out a lot, one every couple years maybe, and they're just topics that I really love. They're things that interest me. I'm not doing them to get rich, because that's obviously not going to happen. But I do them because they're topics that I love and I want in my collection. So I started doing. Got a little bit into the production end of it, and then I started. As I got into the hobby, I discovered IPMS, and I joined and was going to those shows and just loved going to those because I think deep down, all model builders are like voyeurs. We want to look at other people's work, right? We want to go look at the kits and go, wow, that's really cool. And it'll inspire you to do something else and do better on your work, or see a kit that you didn't know existed and you go buy it. So I was doing IPMS, and then I learned about some shows that were doing more of the garage kit stuff, like Chiller Theater up in New York and Wonderfest, which you mentioned. And I started going to those. And of course, those being more in the genre I was interested in, it was sensory overload. You'd walk in and see hundreds of different resin kits that you didn't know existed. So, I been going to Wonderfest for about 30 years in a row now. And
Wow.
I was going to Chiller a lot, but the scope of that show changed, and they don't have as many model kit dealers anymore. So I'm not going to that, but, I go to the IPMS shows and still try to hunt out old Aurora kits and things like that they're more plastic oriented instead of the resin stuff. And I just felt like I wanted to do a show. We've had a club that Hangar 18 is our host hobby shop in town here. They've been gracious enough to put up with us for 15 years. And there was a couple of smaller or some resin shows up on the East Coast that after a few years collapsed, and they were sort of similar to Wonderfest. And when those shows collapsed, everybody started talking about, we need another show like that to offset the other ones, because you have a bunch of IPMS shows, but not many like Wonderfest. So the topic came up, and everybody was saying, you guys should do a show. And so I talked to the club, and I talked to everybody and said, if you guys will help me, we can do this. We can put a show together. And everybody said they would help. And so we started creating the show itself. Has really been more of a family affair. Me and my kids and my wife, we've built the structure of it. But come day of the show, I'm going to have a lot of the guys from the club helping run it. But I'm kind of approaching it as a hybrid. It's not a Wonderfest, but it's not an IPMS.
Okay.
We're going to have categories for automotive. We'll have vehicles, we'll have armor, we'll have planes, but then we'll have a few more expanded categories for different figures, like horror figures or sci-fi fantasy figures. In different scales, we're going to do minis, dioramas, spacecraft, ships. We're going to cover everything. We want the garage kit resin guys to come, and we want the IPMS people to come. It's going to be, like I say, it doesn't really follow to coin a term. It doesn't follow a model of any other show. It's just sort of a hybrid of both. So we can get the whole hobby, people on both sides, if you will, to come to the show and enjoy it. I don't want anybody to feel like there's not a category they can, not put a kit in.
Right.
I just love the hobby, and it's a way to promote it and get people involved and have fun. And we all like looking at, everybody's work. And that's kind of, that's how it kind of started.
Okay. And now the name of the show, I don't think we've said it yet, is KitCon.
Right. Yeah. I tried to be pretty straightforward. It kind of explains what it is. We went through a lot of different names, but I didn't want to use Fest again, because
Right.
there's Wonder Fest, and there's
Mhm.
been other, the ones up in the other resin show mentioned in Jersey was Jersey Fest.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't want to go that route. I wanted to have something independent, and and the question that we always ask people as model builders is, what do you build? And so we kind of picked that up as our catchphrase. With Get KidCon, we want to know, what do you build, and bring it to the show and show us what you got.
Okay. So anything's welcome. Military, not military.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. Okay.
Yep. I wanted, because, even though I have my focus on what I like to build, I still like looking at, I think military dioramas are amazing when people build entire scenes. They blow me away. And I've seen some incredible air dioramas, aircraft, and of course all the spacecraft and sci-fi kits that are out there. And with the advent in the last years of Gundam exploding, I've seen some great Gundam buildups that I just like looking at all of them. So I want everybody to have a space.
Well, tell us a little bit about the show. Where is it? How do we get there? This is the website that we're looking at, and you got your nice countdown clock. So 44 days.
Yeah, it's creeping up on me. I originally was going to have it out at a different space, but I got the feeling I was going to outgrow that space pretty quickly. So we moved it to the Hilton Hotel in North Raleigh, right off of the Beltline around the town. Easy to get to. It's about, if anybody flies in, it's about a 10 to 15 minute ride from the airport to the hotel. There's a picture of it. It's on Wake Forest Road. We've got a nice ballroom facility, 2 big rooms there for vendors. We've got a big contest room. We're going to have a separate room for demos. We've got demos lined up from people that do different things. Lou Del Mesa, who owns Aztec Dummy, he does maskings for all the spaceship kits that come out, all the Enterprise and Battlestar Galactica and all that. So he does a lot of maskings and sells those all over the world. He'll be there doing, he's part of our club. He'll be doing a demo. Chris Wooten's a sculptor. He's going to be doing a demo. We've got Travis Getz with Getz Minis. He does military work. He's going to be there for a demo. And we got one guy that does paints for minis, stuff I can't do. He'll be there doing a demo. So we're going to have a separate thing all day long to keep people that can sit and watch demos instead of twiddling their thumbs all day.
Okay.
But it should be pretty easy. There's a list of our categories, and there's several in there. Again, being the first show, I really have no idea what the turnout's going to be. So some of these categories, we realize if I get a big turnout, we can't split some of them. Like we've got fantasy and superheroes there, category number 2. If I end up getting a whole bunch of superhero comic book figures as well as fantasy figures, then we'll split the category.
Right.
Because, I really want to try to do an apples to apples comparison. And, so there's several there. And again, when you get into armor, any of these military or other categories, you look at, take an IPMS show, for example, and there's 20 categories of armor. While we can't go that deep, we can certainly look at splitting it somewhere in the middle if we end up getting that much, attendance and that many. Same thing for cars, automotive. So any of these are subject to split, but that's our first 17, and we'll see what happens from there.
I think that's a good way to approach it because, like you said, you really don't know.
Yeah, this will be our litmus test, and from there we can customize the show next year to meet the needs or based on what kind of turnout we get.
Okay.
I think there's some benefit to, there are shows that I go to all over the country at this point that are oftentimes geared towards a specific genre. They have everything, but the club, there are, all-inclusive model shows that are run by car clubs. And they'll have 35 automotive categories and 1 armor, 1 aircraft, 1 ship category.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I think that that's actually a better way to go because you're creating something specifically for a niche audience. And I think that, people go to Wonderfest because of the genre.
Exactly.
Of the show. People go to Jersey Fest and I don't know how many Jersey Fests I went to when I lived there. People go to Jersey Fest for the genre. People go to Chiller for the genre.
Mhm.
People go to Gen Con for the genre.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think you might have stumbled onto something that by using that as your motivator right out of the chute, you might be onto something.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're not, you talk about Wonderfest. The military, yeah, they'll have a tank or a ship, but the military guys mostly don't go there because you look at the Wonderfest category list
Mhm.
and it's horror this, horror that, fantasy this, fantasy that. And the
Mhm.
military guys might feel left out. With your list here, nobody feels left out at all. These are all just top level, sci-fi, horror, ships.
Mhm.
So that's, it's like nobody feels like this is any type of certain show. It's a model show.
Right. Yeah. And that's kind of, I'm glad that's given you that feel, because that's kind of what my idea was to, all are welcome.
Yeah.
I like looking at all types of work.
Yeah. If you get 100 ships, you got to figure it out on that day, but figure it out on that day, be prepared for it and invite everybody. This is cool.
Yeah. And that's kind of the approach we're taking, that all categories can be split depending on the turnout.
Right. Well, we've got a guy over here in the chat. I saw it a second ago. Here it is. Nick, he asks, is there a raffle? So tell us a little bit about what you're planning there.
Yeah, we're going to have, we're actually going to have at this point, I think, a 2-level raffle, if you will. And I've run into this at a couple of IPMS shows, which I thought was interesting, which made me feel like it was okay to do this. You have your standard kits that are, 10 to 30, 40, $50 as a standard kit.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have your $200 kits. And for your raffle tickets, we're going to have 2 levels that you can buy a group of tickets for the more standard kits. Excuse me. And then we'll have tickets for the upper level stuff, because I've got some resin producers are going to send me some, $200 plus value kits. And selling a raffle ticket for $1 for that one's not gonna really work out. So we're gonna have 2 tiers at this point, is what it boils down to, and we'll have them in the have them displayed in the dealer room, and we'll probably have it won't be a long raffle through the whole day, because I don't know that I'm gonna have that much time, but we'll pull it down to probably a couple of drawings and then one wrap up drawing for everything at the end. Okay. And hopefully, we're planning on make it a be there to win kind of thing. And if we pull a ticket and no one's there, and we'll give them, 10 minutes or whatever. If they don't show, we'll draw another ticket, and we'll just, hopefully be able to move everything that the companies have been generous enough to donate to help with the show.
That sounds like a plan. Tell us about your entry fees, general admission, contest fees. What are we looking at money wise?
Yeah, just to walk up and come in the show, just $5. If somebody just wants to come in and look around and shop. If you're going to enter, we're doing a $10 entry, and that'll cover your first 5 kits. Okay. So that's your $10 to get you in the contest. If you've got 6 kits, that extra kit will be just another $2. Okay. And we'll just $2 after that. But 10 gets you in, and up to 5 kits. And then that's really pretty much it. And then, like I said, $5 for just walk-ins. Okay. The judging we want to do similar to, I guess, like Wonderfest does, or AMPS. We're doing a gold, silver, bronze situation where there could be multiple golds in one category. Mm-hmm. Now, unfortunately, because it's our first show and we don't want to go bankrupt, we're going to try to limit it to a maximum of 3 golds, 3 silvers, 3 bronzes per category. And then next year, hopefully we'll be able to move to 5 to 10. Depends if the quality of work is there. Right. And, but it's not going to be a first, second, third. Because, for me, I don't know. It feels, it feels too competitive almost. It's like, what if you go through these, you get down to 2 car kits, and they both have great scores and everybody loves them. Who's to decide which one's better than the other? And your judges look at them, and you basically end up saying, Brandon's kit's better than Jeff's. So,
That's right.
that's not how we want to judge it. We want to judge it on the quality of the work, the workmanship.
Right.
And if the work is there and you deserve a gold or a first, you should get it, even if somebody else did just as great a job. So I always feel like somebody's getting kind of dumped on.
Right. Yeah.
If you only do 3,
Yeah. Well, Jeff, you heard him, didn't you? Brandon's kid is better than Jeff. Unfortunately, Dave, that's probably never going to be actually true. but the gold, silver, bronze, you are seeing that more and more. That's a pretty common thing. You mentioned that's what AMPS does, and that is true. But there are several IPMS shows now that have adapted to that. Our own here in Chattanooga, our club, we do gold, silver, bronze.
Oh, great. Okay. I didn't know any IPMSs were doing that. Okay.
Yeah. The Chattanooga club has been doing that since they started back. And I know a couple of them are listening. They're going to slap me for saying this wrong, but I think the show started around 2011, somewhere in that ballpark. But they've been doing gold, silver, bronze ever since it started. And several other shows have moved to that as well.
The history of this, and I'll probably get corrected in the chat, but the history of this, I believe, came from Shep Payne's MMSI club in Chicago. And they kind of created that gold, silver, bronze judging standard, which is called Chicago Rules. And it's kind of just taken off. And for the exact reasons that you've stipulated. IPMS system works. Within the confines of how they've got it set up, it works really well. The gold, silver, bronze systems. I mean, you go to MMSI, you want to see, the epitome of how this system works. Go to MMSI. I mean, and they're a historical figure society, but it's the same premise. And they do. It's not easy. It's not easy to take a gold medal at MMSI.
And it shouldn't be.
No.
The way we've set ours up, we've got a judging a point system. So all the judges have something they can fall back on to show why they had that decision.
Right.
Not just, I just like that kit better. That's not really fair. So if we go with a point system, and everybody can say, well, on the quality of the build where there's seam lines, this sort of thing, stand lines, 1 to 5 or whatever. And then you add them up and you go, well, there were seam lines. So you got points off. So that way you can go through. And if the math comes out and you've got 3 guys that are top of the line, the work deserves to be recognized in my mind. Because, you spend hours and hours and hours on a kit and you go in there and, I'm sure you guys have been in enough shows and you've heard it at IPMS. If some guy came in second and he thinks that beat me, and so they're upset that whoever got first, he doesn't think he should have got it. Yeah. And, so this way, it's really, I think, Judge.
Uh-oh. Did we lose him?
He froze.
Squirrel-powered internet. Little hamster on a treadmill.
Yeah. Hopefully
he'll the generator.
Back. Yeah, hopefully he'll be back in just a second, but
no. But I mean, he raises a good point in that, and this has been in at least in the scale model hobby. It's been one of those conversations that has gone on for decades. The whole premise of an open judging system versus a 1, 2, 3 closed judging system. And then of course, there's arguments that go back and forth, subjectivity versus objectivity, having a rubric or not having a rubric so that everyone actually understands if there's a point system that this is the criteria. And, oh, by the way, you missed it. So then you have something to fall back on to support your decisions and your judging choices.
Yeah. It's just interesting. And like you said a minute ago about the IPMS way of judging, nothing wrong with it.
No. And you know, and again, and this is while we're waiting for Dave to log back in, you know, this really could be almost a show in and of itself, a discussion in and of itself, that, you know, it's the whole objectivity versus, you know, subjectivity versus professional judges. Judges are human beings. Every show judges differently. Judge skill comes into, you know, into question, and things like that. There we go. He's back.
There was a flash and the internet disappeared.
Yeah, all of a sudden you were just like,
Yeah, you were caught in that dramatic pose mid-sentence.
Was I frozen?
Oh yeah. We screenshotted it. We'll put
Yeah,
it up later.
we were just
It'll be
talking about the, you know, nothing wrong with any type of judging method, and it's interesting, and it's a good thing because it gives modelers different types of shows to go to. I've heard it said a lot. I got a gold at this show, so now I want to go see how I do it a 1, 2, 3, or the other way around. I got a first place. I want to go see how I do it on a gold, silver, bronze. So it gives you something different to try. You know, you know, there's different restaurants because you got different tastes.
Yep.
Now with these two types of judging that have both kind of become mainstays, it gives you two completely different types of model contests to go to and, you know, try your luck, if you will.
Yeah. And I hope it, you know, I've kind of interviewed, talked to people, just, you know, going to shows, and everybody seems to think trying this method, you know, would be a pretty good idea, and see how it goes.
Right.
The only problem that you will eventually run into is that when you have an open judging system as such, you judge every model. You look at every model on the table. You kind of don't do the triage method that IPMS uses, where you look for the big fingerprint and you just move him off to the side.
Yeah.
Where that's going to start to come back to nip you in the bud is when you start getting massive quantities of models.
Right. Yeah.
Because,
and that's
you know,
something we've kind of talked about. Yeah.
And that was an argument. That's one of the standard arguments that they have. And I belong to both organizations, and I take the AMPS hat, and then I put the IPMS hat on and back and forth. But, you know, an AMPS Nationals will have 500, 600 models, and they judge every model on the table, and every model is judged based very similar to yours on a point standard. That's great. But you go to an IPMS Nationals where there's 3,000 or 4,000 models on the table. You can't do it.
It's just not physically possible.
You physically can't do it.
Yeah.
So hopefully you'll find a sweet spot in there, and maybe and you know, if you have success and you find a system or a hybrid that works, by all means put it out there so that hopefully everybody else can kind of latch onto it and you know, make it work.
Yeah, we're kind of leaning toward that. Not sounding to be negative on ourselves. We're thinking, well, we're only going to have so many. You know, I mean, it's not like we're going to come out to shoot and have 800 kits in there. I mean, we might,
you
but
could.
I could. All this good promotion. But you know, if it does, that'll be as Brandon was saying earlier, being overly busy is good. We will be overly busy. And we'll deal with it. We'll be happy to deal with it. But you know, if it's not, we'll have enough time to figure it out. And then when the show's over, we'll call the club together. We'll have a post-mortem and figure out what do we need to fix, what did work, what didn't work, what can we improve on, and you know, and go from there.
Well, and I'll go on record and volunteer Brandon. Because he doesn't have enough to do as it is. But, you know, Brandon and I have both been involved. I was the Nationals convention chairman last year for IPMS. Up in Madison. Okay. And I have kind of been in the civil war of judging between multiple model societies, and I always try to find a diplomatic way to say that both systems work. But if there's anything that we can do, or if there's any resources that we can bring to your postmortem or to your after action, based on introducing you to other clubs and talk about how they've done it. I know there's people in the chat right now that have run a system very similar to what you're going to be doing, we can put you in touch with people all over the country.
That'd be great, because again, being, like I said, I've been to dozens of shows, but not being on the administrative side of it, there's a lot that I don't know about how the inner workings are going to go. So I can be honest and admit, I don't know. I'm always interested to hear other people's input and get information as I can, and collate all that and pick out the good bits and see what works for us and what doesn't. And if it doesn't work this time, it works next time. So yeah, I'm always open to advice.
Yeah, the crazy thing, and it happened with me, and it happened with my team, and I know it happened to some of the shows that Brandon's been involved with. You do so much work leading up to the show, and then it's 1 or 2 or 4 days of complete chaos and insanity, and then all of a sudden it's over.
Yeah,
and you're looking around like, where did the last 2 years of my life go, and what just happened? Why is my wallet empty? And
look at the stack of boxes I have.
Yeah.
Let me throw this at you, Dave, and this is kind of Jeff's baby to some extent. Well, Jeff started something at his show, he made it official, called it
Tiger Meat.
Yes, thank you, Tiger Meat. And then I know Wonderfest does something similar that their judges do, and then this is a display only area. So at the Nationals, and they've done it again, so I think it may be a mainstay now. If you don't want to compete, and this, so Chris over here in the chat, he says he quit competing, and a lot of people either quit because of various reasons. Some people don't like competing to begin with because perhaps they don't think they're good enough, like myself. But I put some stuff in the Tiger Meat, and I know at Wonderfest their judges are not allowed to compete, so they have a display category where because if you're a judge at Wonderfest, you like building models, you want to show off your work, so they allow that. And I know this is becoming a more talked about and more popular thing at a lot of shows, to have an area to bring your models and display them. And in some cases, they don't even charge you because you're not getting competed. You're not eligible for an award, but it's just a way to allow guys that don't want to compete to come, bring their models. Perhaps they're just getting started and they know that they need to improve, but they don't know where to improve. So they like to bring their models and get some tips and some tricks. Just another idea for you.
It's interesting you brought that up, because one of the questions I was going to ask you guys, and it ties back into this, was I was going to ask you, one of the discussions, arguments, whatever we've had, is if you're going to judge, do you get to put kits in the show? And the back and forth has been, well, okay, if we have the judges want their work in there too, and it's like, okay, well then the judges don't judge their own category. They judge outside of their category. That covers it. But then at IPMS, like you said, they have the situation where if you judge, you don't get to enter anything. And you get to put it on the side. And
at IPMS, that's not actually true. Right. You are absolutely not allowed to judge a category that you have a model in.
Right.
But if you think about it, at the IPMS Nationals with close to 3,000 models, if they said that judges can't enter the contest,
half of them would go away.
We wouldn't have any judges, because it is a for us, by us event. I would say that at least 50%, if not more, of the guys in the judging room on Friday night are modelers that have entered the contest too. So you, like I said, you are absolutely not allowed to judge your own model or the category that you're in. And, most guys, at least the ones that I am around on Friday nights, if you're entered in and you're in, you might actually win. I mean, you kind of know if you're good enough or not. When it starts getting time to vote for best ofs, you kind of just make your way out of the room.
Yeah,
and I've had a guy before that he didn't know that he was that good, and I just kind of walked over to him. I said, "Hey, buddy, you might want to go, just go look somewhere else." And
you have to leave now.
Yeah, you have, and you have to do that, because then they know something's up. But at the same point in time, you don't want them standing there when everybody raises their hand to vote for his model for the best, the best ship.
or not
Right.
vote for his model.
Yeah, but
One of the things that I would recommend, if you have and you've got a month and a half, so you've actually got the time to do it. Are you using hired gun judges, or are you going to pull your judges from
Yeah, at this
contestants?
point, we're using. I got a couple things. I want to use the people in the club, and it's funny because the people, like, one guy builds a lot of spaceships, right? He's good at it, so I would want him to judge the spaceship category. But if he enters the spaceship category, then he can't judge the spaceship category.
So what I would do is
Yeah,
I would create a set of categories specifically for your judges and let the contestants judge those categories for the
do
judges.
those. Yeah, yeah.
So it's I guess we could call it people's choice, but
Mhm.
even if you just did one, here's one
Right.
table, all the judges, it's a free for all. You can put anything in there that you want. If you're judging, you're not competing, against everyone else. You're competing
Right.
against the other judges, and then you allow the contestants to vote with, like a popular, like People's Choice Award.
Sure.
You vote for that best judges model, and I don't know, give them a gold jacket.
with doing gold, silver, bronze, you have a little bit of wiggle room doing gold, silver, bronze.
Yeah,
Because if you're judging based on a point system, he could still judge everything else in the spaceship category. You just need to pull somebody else from another category to come judge his.
And that was kind of my thought during this argument with folks. I'd say, well, why don't we just switch somebody or do something like that, so you still get your judges to do that. The other situation that popped up was I had some folks coming in that aren't part of the club that are experienced, and they said, well, we'll help you judge if you need us to. And I said, that'd be great. Yeah, I may run shorthanded. So I didn't want to have these folks come in and they're bringing 4 or 5 kits to enter. I know they're bringing several. And then they get there and go, okay, I want to enter my kits. And now, do you need me to help you judge? And I go, yes, but now you can't enter your kits.
Yeah.
Well, you put them in. You put them
The
in.
face,
So if an airplane guy shows up and you put him in armor, or if a ship guy shows up, you put him in armor, or you put him. So you just have them. You have them judge categories.
They just stay away from the category
that they're not in.
You're just going to have to find your footing. It's a new show with gold, silver, bronze. Just remember, and I don't know exactly how you've got your criteria laid out, but some of the basics apply. Your basic construction. You mentioned seam lines?
Mm-hmm.
That applies regardless of what category it's in. Your paint and your finish, any decals or that kind of glue spots, all the basics are the same regardless of the category. So you just remember that, and as you go through this, just make mental notes. And everybody knows it's a new show, and you're just going to have to do the best you can with what you're given this year. And you don't know what you're going to be given. You might get 10 kits in the contest. You might get 1,000.
That's right.
You don't know. And just don't stress out about it. Put the show on, do the best you can. And then next year you'll have 100% more data to go on to make corrections to make it an even better show in the next year.
Well, I know that Nico was talking about, he was asking questions about the raffle. So if Nico, I know Nico personally, he's one of my Chicago buddies. So if Nico's asking about the raffle, he's thinking about going. And if he's thinking about going, I'll co-pilot with him, and we'll drag Novak, or we'll chloroform him and put him in the trunk. It's a Chicago thing, and maybe we'll road trip out there and come hang with you guys.
Okay, we'd love to have you. We'd love to have you. Yeah, because I want to try to reach the entire community.
Yeah.
I want everyone to feel like that they can come, and hopefully we'll have enough room for everybody. I'm hoping that does become a problem, that I don't have enough tables for the kids, but we'll see. I've got a lot of good space, and I think it's going to go well. The promotion has been really well. I mean, we've tried hard. We've used Facebook and the internet as much as we can, and tried to get the word out. And we do videos on Instagram, little short videos, and we're trying to saturate the market almost without being a nuisance. But I want people to be aware of it, because sometimes I run across people go, I've never heard of your show. And I'm like, how? I feel like I've just annoyed everybody with
Right.
all these promotional things, but it's hard to reach everybody.
But you'll get that, and
Yep.
regardless of where it falls on your scale of moderate to amazingly successful, getting that first show under your belt and getting that positive feedback from people, and that will be probably the greatest tonic that you could ask for next
yeah.
show, because you've proven yourself and you had a great show, and
We pulled it off.
yeah, and everyone will be excited to, and it grows. It just grows on itself, like like the domino effect,
hmm
or
Yeah, now Jeff, now you're freezing.
uh-oh.
Yeah, you did this. You went.
I do that anyway. I think it's
there.
There you
I
go.
think it's the super glue fumes, to be honest with you.
I agree. Well, Dave, this has been great, and I look forward to hearing all about the show. I hope it's a great thing. I'm glad to see. We want to support all the shows, but most of them have been going for a little while. So this is very
Mhm.
interesting that this is a brand new show. So happy to promote it for you and do what we can do to help you.
Well, I certainly
Can do to
support. I
help.
appreciate your support and anything you guys. And like I said, send me some info. We'll put up banners for you. We'll have a table for your if you have flyers, paperwork, anything like that to keep let people know that you're here on helping
Oh
us.
yeah, we got you a goodie box going to be on the way here in the next week or two. So
I appreciate it. I appreciate it a lot, and hopefully we can do this again after the show, and I tell you how good it was.
that would be great. I'd love to do that. See some pictures, and
Yep.
that would be awesome. We'll definitely have you back to give us a post show report, and hopefully you won't have lost all your hair.
Yeah.
Well, I'm getting close, but
Yeah,
I'm working on it.
I hear you. I hear you. Well,
Yeah.
awesome. Well,
And I'm serious about getting the Chicago crew together. So who knows? We might come down.
I'd love to have you. It'd be great if you make it. Shoot me an email. Let me know. We'll look for you. Yeah, we're going to try to do Friday night.
Done far more.
Get together. So
Okay.
on Friday night at the hotel, in the lobby, there's a nice big lobby bar and restaurant. So I'm hoping all the vendors and folks that come the night before, we can all meet in the lobby and get to chit chat and get to know each other a little better and hang out and talk about models and all kinds of other little geeky, nerdy things that we like to do. So,
I'll reach out to Nico and see what we can put together.
sounds good. I appreciate it.
all right, Dave. Well, we'll let you go for now, and we'll look forward to having you back in a month or two and see how the show went.
All right. Thanks again, and appreciate you
Dave.
having me on.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much, David.
Yep. Take care. All right. Bye-bye.
Oops.
Got rid of me.
Yeah, I got rid of you instead of Dave. Maybe that was my plan.
Oh, wow. Well, you know what? You can always fall back. You have the Tamiya thin cement going in the background there too. So
Oh, I do?
always fall back. Yeah, right
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Yep.
Oh, you mean sniffing it? I got you.
Yeah, that's it's all right. Do I have to start explaining my jokes to you now?
No. Hey, you're talking earlier about things that we make and we do production batches and they sell out before people even know they were there. It happened again this week.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So that batch of stuff that we got posted up, it was another variant of the 20. And what else was it? 2 5-inch 38s and the 40 millimeter twin, I think.
Twins. Yep.
Yeah.
Gone.
Yeah, they're so here.
Yeah.
5-inch. So it's all good, but it's all gonna be a lot more good soon. So I'll have some.
Yeah.
I don't know about next week, but in the next couple of weeks, I'll probably have some pictures of the new digs at the warehouse and show everybody what we got cooking down here. So
Very cool.
Oh
And yes, Brett, to answer your question, I am working on the 917. It's which is why I look like I'm falling asleep, because after I work my regular 12-hour day for Brandon, I go upstairs, I get something to eat, and I slam a bunch of 5
You froze again, Jeff.
You're 6 hours in on the. I don't know what's going on. Oh well.
Hey, can I make you happy real quick?
Of course.
Actually, you're not really going to get happy. You're just going to roll your eyes. But I got my the inside of my ball painted.
Oh. Yeah, there's just so many jokes there.
Yeah. Well, this is a very, very weird thing. So
Yes.
I hope that I can get the video of building it up to this point posted here in the next couple of days. It's going to be a boring video, just lots of parts being cut out and glued together. But it's if I don't break it, but it's interesting. So it's not near as big as your poker kit. So.
Yeah, well, I don't know where I cut off, but yeah, I've been trying to put 5 or 6 hours a night in on this nonstop. The past weekend was, a couple of 14-hour days, 15-hour days on it, and
How much more do you like?
if I put another 20 or 30 hours in, I'll probably have it done.
Nice. I look forward to seeing it. Show and tell is the 22nd.
It will be done. I'm bringing it to IPMS Duneland this weekend. Down in Hobart, Indiana. We had the guys on the show last week.
Yep.
So I'm hoping to have it at IPMS Duneland.
So in other words, you're not going to sleep after we hang up here in a minute.
Oh no. I wouldn't anyway. I mean, it's usually I'm averaging. Yeah, the box says it's a John Novak says the box says it's a 30-hour build. It's a 30-hour build if you don't do anything to it. If you don't fill seams, if you don't paint, if you don't. Yeah.
Well, guys, October 22, 2 weeks from tonight, that is our next show and tell. And I've already been getting some submissions, getting them earlier this month, which is nice. So send them on in, show us what you've built this month, and I look forward to seeing it all. Yeah, Dave, if you're still out there listening, we do a show and tell once a month on the show. So if you got anything built, send it over to us. We'll feature it and talk about it, and it'll be fun. So
yeah, and I want to thank Dave for coming on and talking about his new show. I'm looking forward to seeing how they pull it off, and hopefully they create one, an anchor property type event that kind of becomes one of those must go to shows every year.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, I guess that's gonna be it for tonight, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm gonna get back to this.
All right, buddy.
I got paint to polish out. So
good deal. Well, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All righty. You have a good night. Thanks for your time, everyone.
Absolutely. Guys, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. Had a good time. Hope you did as well. We'll be back next Wednesday night. I have no idea what we've got planned for next Wednesday night yet. We got a few options, so we'll get that sorted out later this week or beginning of next week, I'm sure. But whatever it is, I am sure we're going to have a great time. And again, October 22, 2 weeks from tonight, we've got the next show and tell. So please send in your models to info@squadron.com with the subject line of show and tell, and we'll get that put into the show. Guys, I appreciate it. Y'all take it easy, and we'll see you next week.